What's going on? All right, this is Afro Think Tank. This message is to the Nigerians, the Nigerian diaspora, and all African Americans who are first cousins of Nigerians. That's Nigeria, that area, that is where we are from. All right. I know a lot of you guys don't realize that, but the white man knows exactly where you're from because they still got the seats in the National Archives. Okay. All you have to do is look it up. It's free. You can see if there's receipts of port of landing, how many Africans taken from Nigeria, where they landed in West Virginia, what year, what's the name of the ship, what's the name of the captain. Like all this shit is there. So the age of information, the amount of pseudo knowledge that these guys are kicking out is just astronomical. It takes 5 minutes to debunk almost everybody nowadays, right? So the old ways of that pseudo intellectualism should be going to the wayside, all right? But I need Nigerians to understand this because last time I left Nigeria, I was at the airport. And one of the Customs and Border Patrol officers, Nigerian ones, was like, "Hey, African American, tell Donald Trump I said hello." Tell him. I looked at him. I was like, they really think Donald Trump liked them. Like, but if you look at Nigerian TV, if you look at what America projects on the media to the world, you would have no idea that America was targeting Nigeria for its resources. Like, you got to understand the propaganda and how powerful it is, right? So I'm looking at this like, man, Nigeria. Like Trump was spitting your face. Y'all just don't understand. And it was like, I'm really happy that Nigerians are starting to figure out that these white folks are not their friends. And they're figuring out real fast. And you guys need to understand that you guys always been the enemy. You guys have been the op since the 1500s. And it's never changed. You guys are the future of the black world. I'm an African American. All right. We have to, when it comes to global politics, global power, and the foundation for global black power and respect, Nigeria is the key. It doesn't matter what the AES does. I'm glad the AES is doing what they're doing. We need them to do that. But we need Nigeria to do it. Nigeria has to do it. And I know because when I'm in Nigeria, I know what y'all want to do. I know it's welling up, right? But I know your politicians they got but I know the dynamics in Nigeria is different because y'all is a lot of people. It's a lot more complicated. Y'all can't just do what Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger do. They can do that. Y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that, right? But there are things that you guys can do, right? And the main thing you guys need to do is not fight each other. Don't allow America to start proxy wars in your country. Keep in mind that those foolies in the north that's coming down are being pushed and sponsored by the French and America. White America, not black America. All America foreign policy is white people's foreign policy. It's not our foreign policy. That's not our foreign policy. Their foreign policy is to be a virus to you Nigerians. Their foreign policy is to keep you down. They do not want you to get strong because they know what's going to happen when you get strong. You understand? They took a Costco-sized sample away from Nigeria once, about 300 years ago. And look what happened to America. They know if you just take a Nigerian, you take any Nigerian, you take a Fulani, a Hausa, you mix some Ghanaians, some Benin, some Togos up in there, you mix them up, give them 300 years, they're going to become a diamond. That's us, right? So if just a small sample of us can do this in America, imagine what the whole store can do. Imagine what the whole group can do when empowered under their own power and under their own mind with their own plans. Nigeria, you are the future, right? But right now, you guys are not living the future because you're trying to survive because currently your uncles, right, are only thinking about the future of their pockets, right, and how fat they can make them before shit hits the fan, right? So the main thing about Nigeria, they have to keep the structural integrity of their country together, period. They can't allow propaganda. Hey, Belfron, I understand, but you got to understand you got a bigger enemy than the Fulanis, the Hausas, and the Yoruba. You got a bigger enemy that's waiting for you to split so they can attack you, destroy you. That's what they're waiting for. Trust and believe. So as passionate as you are about Belfron, guess what? If you were Belfron, you'd be just like Benin, weak and useless and small and insignificant. You would have nothing. Those are facts, no matter how you feel. Facts over feelings. All right? Yoruba land. You're not breaking up from the rest of Nigeria. It's too late. That shit's done. You don't have the resources, the power, the networks to do that just for Yoruba land. You need Igbo land, and you need Hausa land, you need the Central Park. All of y'all need each other right now because your enemy is bigger and stronger and strategic than you, and they're looking at you and they know how to take shit from you. And they know all they got to do is press your ethnic buttons, press your tribal buttons, and you guys will look in the house and start fighting, and y'all forget that that white man is burning your house from the outside. And you Nigerians on the outside that's living in these white Western worlds, right? Y'all guys need to keep in mind that the places that you reside right now, their foreign policy is to keep your country undeveloped. And you got to do your part to make sure that they're not successful at that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the Kissinger report here so you can understand this is American foreign policy. This is white American foreign policy, and it will never change until we take over America. Until we take over the governments of apparatus of America and change the foreign policy of this nation. That's why it's important for black people to vote and participate in politics so we can get in there and we can change the machine from within. All right? So anyway, y'all tell me what you guys think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So I just finished reading the National Security Report that is marked as the Kissinger Report. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I just, casted my laptop to my TV. So let's go ahead and look at it, shall we? All right. I said, I just uploaded the Kissinger Report. I need you to go through it and summarize what it says about Nigeria. Number one, Nigeria is classified as one of the 13 highest priority countries for U.S. population control focus. Nigeria's population growth is extremely rapid. Nigeria is singled out as a future regional power U.S. must anticipate. Nigeria is treated as a potential source of instability if population growth isn't reduced. Nigeria is grouped among countries that may lack strong family planning interests, but where the U.S. want to intervene anyway. The U.S. plan push population control programs into Nigeria using UN aid agencies or other donors. Here's the summary in plain language. Number one, Nigeria is treated in NSSM-200 as one of the very top countries the U.S. wants to target for population reduction. A country whose rapid population growth is considered a risk to the U.S. strategic interest. A future African power whose demographic expansion could shift regional influence. A site where U.S. intends to push contraception programs and family planning and fertility production efforts either directly or through UN agencies, regardless of Nigeria's interest. A major contribution to global increase. So, what can we see? And then I ask, what year was it written? It says right here, it was written in December 10, 1974. Everything that's going on right now was planned, and this is my issue. There are a group of people, there's an educated group of people who know this, who understand. They've read the Kissinger report. They know it, and they figured we're going to use this to our benefit because we have ulterior motives. Everything America's afraid of is what Nigeria could become. We're going to help America stop Nigeria from becoming that because we have our own ulterior motives. We have something going on in Nigeria that we're trying to do. And because we want it, damn be the rest. So basically, since 1974, the United States government realized that at some point, you see Nigeria's number now, there's over 200 and something million of us. They realized when we get to this point, we're going to become a global superpower if we have the right president in power. And they said they need to do everything to stop that. Population control. How many people do you think they're going to kill when they come to Nigeria to come save you Christians? But anyways, this is why I'm so angry, because a lot of people know this, but they don't care because they have their own ulterior motives.
Hey fam, I want you people to pay attention to this video to the end, especially those of you that have been calling me an evil person for supporting Iran, saying if I don't know that Iran and Islamic countries, Islamic nations are the ones that are sponsoring terrorism all over the world, terrorism in Africa, in Nigeria, because the terrorists are always shouting Allah Akbar. So I was reading about Kissinger's report of 1974, and I wanted to open this first site. We said here that in 1974, a secret policy paper was drafted that would quietly shape decades of American engagement with Nigeria. This Kissinger's report is about population control and, of course, about being in total full control of our natural resources in Nigeria, and, of course, especially Nigeria. So I wanted to open this first site, but then my attention was actually drawn to this Wikipedia, because earlier I was reading different reports from www.cia.gov, and they were just referring to NXXM 200. So my attention just came down to this one, National Security Study Memorandum 200. So I decided to open and read instead of the first site. I need you to follow me. So National Security Study Memorandum 200, implication of worldwide population growth for U.S. security and overseas interests, NXXM 200, also known as Kissinger's report. The one I was reading earlier on www.cia is, I think, the reform. They actually reformed the Kissinger's radical report in a way that, will not make anybody mad. And I think they printed that one in 2003. Still follow me, let's read together. So it said, also known as the Kissinger's report, was a national security directive completed on December 10, 1974 by the United States National Security Council under the direction of Henry Kissinger, following the initial order from President of the United States, Richard Nixon. Let's come down here. NXXM 200 was reworked and adopted as official United States policy through NXDM 314 by President Gerald Ford on November 26, 1975. It was initially classified for over a decade and has been part of the public record since 1985. The memorandum and subsequent policy developed from the report were observed as a way the United States could encourage human population planning to slow down global population growth in rapidly growing population of lesser developed countries like Nigeria. The document described U.S. security interests in national resource supplies as a motivator for assisting LDCs in curbing population growth rates. It contemplated that situation arising from scarcity of food and other economic preconditions for stable growth in LDCs could lead, LDCs actually means lesser developed countries, could lead to political instability, which could put in jeopardy supplies to industrialized countries of key minerals and other resources for their growth. You see Nigeria, what is happening in Nigeria right now with the GMO, with Bill Gates and all that. Maybe today. One thing with the West, the West are actually different from Africa. When they map out a goal, they take time. They take their time, one step at a time. It can actually take them 100 years. But be rest assured that they will actualize this goal. You see, with this GMO, now the fruits we have in the markets are seedless. The other day I bought orange 1,000. 8 of them that I opened, none have a single seed in them. None. I still have 4. Which I want to throw away. I just wanted to show to somebody before I throw it away. All of them don't have any seed inside. You see Nigerians, you see Africans. These guys are actually preparing our immune system for the next pandemic. You guys actually think that America came to the position they are today on our planet by playing fair? Is that what you think? That they attained the position they are right now by playing fair? Then you must be very slow. I'm sorry, I'm not insulting you. You must be very damn slow. Thank you very much. And I love you. And
a lot of Nigerians do not know what we're talking economically and so on, some of the in energy and
yes, sir.
International Monetary Fund and all of these global diktats upon this nation. They don't know. I mean, if you go back to the Kissinger report, 1974, Kissinger report, it was secret then because he was Secretary of State of America, but now it has to be public because of the law over there after 50 years or something like that. 1974 Kissinger report, it says explicitly there that the Nigerian people must not be given access to their resources, that they must be kept for the rich nations. And then you have the structural adjustment program of the 1980s, here that privatized our companies and sold off our companies to foreign interests, deindustrialize our nation, and that was supposed to make our economy more efficient. Well, it's led us to where we are today.
It is.
And so the thing is that most Nigerians don't know this. They don't know these economic policies, the simplicity of these things that will enable our country to be rebuilt and to become strong. Back in the 1970s, almost everything we consume was made in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
And that's been systematically destroyed by foreign powers. so that they can have access to our resources and we won't be using them on ourselves. That's why Nigeria has come. The International Monetary Fund is personally responsible for the economic condition of this country today. And it could be turned around in a couple of years.
Guys, have you ever heard of the Kissinger report of 1974? If you're Nigerian, please pay attention. But this is not a message for Nigerians, it's for every African. The 1974 Kissinger report, Henry Kissinger specifically says that Africans or Nigerians must never, ever be permitted by Europeans to benefit from Nigeria's natural resources. And this has been a policy since Africa got its independence. This is how much they have zero value for Africans, because they say that the resources in Africa must never ever benefit Africans. So the policy in Nigeria has always been to keep Nigeria stable enough, but not so good that Nigerians are benefiting from it. And these are the specific policies of the IMF and the policies of the Europeans to this day. Like, I don't understand it, because they want to keep Africans in perpetual poverty, but their countries are falling apart.
You know, most times I actually regret why I'm a Nigerian or why I'm from Nigeria. Because for an impoverished country, like, we have so much misplaced priorities. It's almost as if we are living in denial. In fact, I can say we are living in denial. The Kissinger report has been out, wherein it was said that Henry Kissinger, God will punish him wherever in day. God will punish him. That grave any day, no go rest. Wherein he came up with a report that Nigeria's population is a threat to United States interests, and that our resources, they should appropriate our resources to themselves, that we should not have use of our resources. That report has been out circulating on social media for some days now. But the people that call themselves Nigerians, what is taking their attention? Oh, Gege, and you do this to a girl, don't do this to a girl. Now, I like his message, no doubt, because I feel that there are too many feminine men presently. I like his message. He's making money. You know, he's making money. If you want to be someone's hustle, that's fine. So people will always use people. But then, is that what we are going to be doing as a nation? Is that what we are going to be doing as a nation? All the youths now in Nigeria, Gege University. Somebody just said that your resources should not be used for you. That your population growth is a problem to their strategic objectives, their strategic interests. Bill Gates came up with GMO foods and so many other things. That one does not concern anybody. When you do Gege finish, you drop your phone and you come back to real life. You come back to the real life where inflation is at an all-time high. You come back to real life where you cannot pay your rent. Even the data you are using to watch the Gege, has it not exploded exponentially over the past few months? Can't we just talk about this issue and sustain discussions on these issues on social media? Why are we being distracted? What is the big deal? Why are we being distracted? The way we take this so-called nonsense thing called cruise, can't we take how we'll get ourselves out of the mess we are in as a country? Can't we take it as cruise to and discuss about these things? So annoying. It's so annoying. Most times, I just regret why I'm even in Nigeria. I regret why I'm in Nigeria. What is all this nonsense? Tinubu now, they don't come say, oh, they want to increase the wages of politicians and lawmakers and whatnot. What about we, the citizens and the masses? We are supposed to still labor under this yoke of this galloping inflation that has no end in sight. Look at house rent. Look at cost of things in the market. and it's gay and give girl money, no give girl money, that be our problem. Oh God, I beg. God, I beg.
Did you know that decades ago, someone in the White House wrote a secret report claiming that Africa's growing population was a threat to the economy and security of the United States? As far back as 1974, the Kissinger report identified population growth in Africa, Asia, and Latin America as a threat to US security, fearing it would increase demand for oil, food, and mineral resources. The proposed solution was to slow down population growth by any means necessary. But how do you shrink future of whole continents, one may ask? Simple. Build systems that are peer-friendly. Now here are 5 systems they built to secretly meet their goals. The first is family planning programs. This was the most direct. Campaigns, sterilizations, and foreign-funded birth control projects. On the surface, it looked like choice. In reality, it was pressure. The target was not just poverty reduction, it was population reduction. Second was finance traps. Through the World Bank and IMF, we all know, loans were offered with harsh conditions. Countries had to cut schools, healthcare, and jobs. Poverty spread. And when survival is hard, families shrink. Debt became a silent form of population control. The third and very effective are NGOs and foreign aid. NGOs became messengers. Behind the free clinics and supplies was a push: fewer children, more family planning, more birth control, and if a country resisted, aid was reduced. It was a soft but powerful pressure. And the fourth here is military bases and wars. Where persuasion failed, power spoke. US and Western bases spread across Africa. Leaders who resisted faced coups, sanctions, or war. Conflict doesn't just unalive. It also breaks communities, delays growth, and reduces population. Some wars were quietly funded to keep nations weak. And the fifth here is food as a weapon. Most recently, we've seen GMOs, and the food aid looked like charity, but they created dependence, while aid programs came with hidden rules. If you wanted food, you had to accept their terms, including population control programs. You see, every piece fits one big puzzle. Finance keeps countries in debt, food creates dependency, NGOs push agendas, military bases secure resources, and family planning limits growth. Together, they enact the Kissinger report's core idea: slow down the global south, maintain dependence, and prevent it from rising as an equal. Keep trusting the global order even in the face of glaring receipts. I am Izuman. This is Chronicles on Power. And until I come your way again, please stay informed. Dejenu.
Kissinger report of 1974, a report that every African child should be aware of. Kissinger report of 1974. Pay attention. Get a pen and a paper. I'm about to give you a linchpin information in this TikTok university. Make sure you mark your attendance in the comment section. You're about to learn what they can teach you in the university. Pay attention. Everyone knows and talks about the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. But how many people talk about the Kissinger report? Something that is very, very disturbing. Pay attention. What is Kissinger report? Why is it called Kissinger report? And why does it concern an African? Pay scrupulous and sedulous attention. Listen. Kissinger report is a secret memo that shaped the destiny and the future of Africa and some European and South American countries. Listen. That report was called Kissinger report because it was signed by Henry Kissinger, the then USA Secretary of State, 1974, the one you call 1974. Why is this report a disturbing report? This report is a disturbing report because in this report, it stated and argued that there are countries in this world whose population is a threat to United States of America, and that their population must be controlled for America to have a fair advantage. What is that advantage? This report stated that this country's population should and must be controlled for America to have access to their resources.
they stated that if this country's population is not being controlled, that their population, their growing population, is going to be unstable, and their growing population is going to resist foreign control and block Americans' access into their country's resources, crude oil, natural resources, and market. The question is, which country is this? I will tell you. Number one country that Kissinger report stated that their population must be controlled is Nigeria. Number two, Ethiopia. Number three, Egypt. They are 13 in number. What am I even waiting for? Let me mention all of it.
In Africa, yes, because there is a policy of the American government. It's called the Kissinger Report, which was produced in the mid-70s when Henry Kissinger was involved with the government. And it explicitly states, which to this day, it remains the official policy of the American government. It has not changed. It may not be implemented by Trump, but it remains the same. That the purpose of the foreign policy in Africa was to reduce the population. So to give aid to countries in Africa, not clean water and schooling and things like that, but contraception and abortion, in order to shrink the population of Africa, because they have great mineral resources there.
That sounds diabolical.
It is, yes.
That sounds like something conceived in the mind of Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, definitely. And so at the time, Kissinger and those involved with the Carter administration wanted to shrink the population, make sure that the Africans do not develop and do not use the resources for themselves, because we in the States, we need them. There is a concerted effort of foreign powers to control the population of Africa. Africa is a huge continent, could feed thousands more people, but the policies of the West, especially in Europe. For example, between 1990 and the year 2000, the United States, Canada, and Europe contributed about $6 billion in contraceptives, not to help the people, not to give clean water, clean food. That is
not to fight malaria, for example.
No, of course, perish the thought, never. Yeah. Let them die. That's the whole idea. So in our work in HLI, we denounced this reality to make the Africans aware that they have to defend themselves against the influence of foreign powers.
Being born in Germany and having survived the Holocaust, how does it feel if now on Berlin streets, Arabs are celebrating the attack on Israel publicly and are distributing sweets to other people?
It was a grave mistake to let in so many people of totally different cultural and religious and concepts, because it creates a pressure group inside each country that does that.
1972, Kissinger report put together by CIA and USAID, and it is a report that concludes that the United States official foreign policy, signed into law in 1975 by President Ford, and when I say signed into law, it's called a presidential directive, is the reduction of population in 12 specific foreign countries. Not the control of population, the reduction of population. And so it explains the ways we're going to do this is through medicalizing birth control. Never was before. You didn't need a doctor to get a condom. And to go around and talk to villages everywhere and say, you want a reproductive health freedom, don't you? You know what most women want on the planet Earth? Babies. They're not looking for reproductive health freedom was a term for have fewer babies, right? There is a very potent move in official U.S. foreign policy to reduce population in other countries. Now, why? Philippines or Indonesia. Why? They state it directly in the Kissinger report because it's classified. They wanted to reduce those countries' development so that they wouldn't need their own raw materials, because we want them, the metals, etc. It is dark as shit, the Kissinger report. It's not classified anymore. You can, ask ChatGPT about it to give you quotes from it. And so this whole business of population reduction is now another third rail I'm stepping on, right? Nobody wants it. What are you nuts? No, a lot of people want it. A lot of people believe, obviously including Bill Gates, that 8 billion people was the number where we must turn it around, which is where we are supposedly now. And the Kissinger report, would these countries like the idea that we show up and we say, hey, we've got a new tetanus vaccine for you, but it happens to also have in it, secretly, something that will reduce fertility in your women, as we did in India, as we did in Peru. In both India and Peru, we also did forced sterilization surgeries. U.S. paid for them. True story. World Health Organization, which basically has this as a mission, man, I wish they would sue me for saying this, but they have this as a mission, which is population reduction. From the beginning, they had worked on that HCG.
Well, Gates famously was in a speech saying, we can do that with vaccines.
Yeah. By the way, in the Kissinger report, they list the strategies and how much funding they'll give to each strategy. One of the strategies is to medicalize birth control, meaning have trusted people in the villages, et cetera. Another one is to pay young men to have a vasectomy. Just outright pay, write a check in villages, so they get $60 and they get a nice weekend of buying beer, but they never have kids. But another one of them is injections that temporarily reduce male fertility. Now, here's an interesting thing about that one. It's in the Kissinger report. Injections that temporarily reduce male fertility. The COVID vaccine reduces sperm count in men for 3 months, admitted by Fauci. It's not a secret. But the CDC's response was, yeah, but it's only for 3 months. But they were asking us to take one every fucking 3 months.
Well, also the miscarriages.
Well, miscarriages and stillbirths.
Are we frenemies? Are we, what are we?
We're friends. And I'm sorry, I actually missed your original question, if you could repeat.
Yeah, I'm just asking, could you elaborate on the relationship between Nigeria and the United States? And do you think that continued inaction on religious freedom issues will harm our relationship going forward? Does Nigeria, are they hearing the messages that are coming from our president, from the United States, about the concern of genocide? And not just, I realize there's people that are being killed that are both, Christian and non-Christian, but that this sort of violence cannot be tolerated.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they weren't hearing it before, they're definitely hearing it now. And I think, as I've mentioned before, there is an opportunity, and an opportunity that should not be missed in the way we convey as the U.S. how we want to work with Nigeria on this issue. The framing of the engagement really matters, and I think this is where the U.S. has to be strategic in its partnership. The partnership with Nigeria, as you rightfully mentioned, is one of our most important partnerships on the continent. As was mentioned, by 2050, the population of Nigeria will surpass the population of the United States. So this is definitely a relationship that we have to keep and build, but approach our dialogues from a place of honesty. And I think what we have going now in this relationship is that the Nigerian people, there is a wide acknowledgement by the Nigerian people that something needs to be done, and done quickly, about the levels of insecurity in the country.
Do you think the Nigerian government is capable of putting a stop to the violence?
And then this is where I say that with the Nigerian government actually looking at where the inefficiencies lie, or where the weaknesses are within its institutional capacity. And I think this is where, again, being able to differentiate what are institutional weaknesses and then what is just plain lack of political will.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be an admittance of where the areas of weakness lie. And there are some clear areas of weaknesses.
I agree. And I think they should, if they can't handle it, they should be willing to ask the international community for help. We should all be standing for life, no matter where we're at in the world.
Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.